Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Saskia, and today I wanted to share some of my favorite books. Some of the books that have stayed with me for quite a while, and I've always wanted to talk to somebody about them obsessively. So this is what I'm going to use to talk about them. So if you've read any of these books and you have any opinions, feel free to leave your comments down below. So our first book. So we have Behold the Dreamer. So Behold the Dreamer is about an African family who came to the United States to start a new life and to, live the American dream. What they realized was after working as a chauffeur, the husband, and working as a house cleaner, the wife, and taking odd jobs throughout the years, they realized that it's not really as easy as they thought it was going to be. So in the end, they made a decision, which I will not tell what the decision is, but they made a decision that is very unorthodox for most people. And it worked out for them in the end. But it just tells the story of people who leave their country to come to the United States trying to get a new life. So Behold the Dreamer by Mbolo Mbu. I think I'm saying that wrong. All right. So the next book, this book, is a book that I really like. I enjoy reading this book. The book is upside down. Hi, I'm her. So this book is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So Evelyn Hardcastle is first of all, the thing I love about this book is that this book is written where you get to see multiple points of view, right? It's the same story over and over and over again because she dies and she keeps coming back to life as a different person. So we get to see the same story being told from multiple perspectives, from multiple eyes, and then we get to piece the whole thing together to figure out who killed Evelyn Hardcastle. Now, this book was originally The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, but there was another book at the time that came out that had a similar name and they didn't want to get it confused. So it's 7.5 in the United States, and I think in Europe it is 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. So that's this book. Really good. All right. Next book. Now, this book. This book is one of those stories. You know, sometimes you read a story and the story just stays with you. Like, after reading this book, I literally had to take a break from reading so that I could gather myself. This book is a suspense. At least it is to me. Anytime I cannot figure out what's going on, it's a suspense to me. So this book is a suspense, and Monday is Not Coming is about friendship. It is about love. It is about sometimes the poor parenting that we have in this world. You know that saying where people say that every child deserves a good parent, but not every parent deserves children. This is that book that talks about that, where you read the book and it just makes you so upset at some of the people in this story. And I don't even want to say anything else about it because I think it's such a good read. And if I really say anything else, you're going to kind of figure out what all is going on in the story. But Monday is Not Coming. It's so good. So good. All right. So the next book is Kindred by Octavia Butler. Like, everybody's probably read something by Octavia Butler, but Kindred. So Kindred is another really good book, and I think that movie, I cannot remember the name of the movie, but it has Janelle Monáe. I think based on the previews of that movie that it's based on this, but they kind of change it up a little bit. So Kindred is about a character who goes back in time. So she travels through time. So again, here we get multiple perspectives, but different time periods. She goes back in time, and she is an African American woman who goes back in time, and she gets to basically see her ancestors and interact with some of them from the past. She's able to save somebody's life here, which is very much a conflict for her considering the time period that this was set in. But it's another good read. It's another one where I was actually scared reading this. For me, I needed to put the book down quite a few times because it was just too much. Emotionally, it was just too much. So I had to put it down, take a break, come back, and read it again. So Kindred by Octavia Butler. And I will say, I think this is my first one by her, and I will be reading the rest of them. There's another book that she wrote that I started reading, but I didn't finish. But after reading this, I'm definitely going to go back and go read that one plus all the other ones. So the next book is Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward. Now, the writing in this book is so beautiful that okay, yeah, sorry about the changing lighting. So yeah, Sing Unburied Sin by Jasmine Ward. Now, the writing in this book is so vivid. Like, she's really good at creating a picture for you so that you could see what it is that she's actually talking about. Like, the writing is so clear, you feel like you are in the scene with the characters. Now, this is another one of those books that made me upset. The main character, one of the main characters in this book, well, first of all, let me tell you about the book. So this book is about an African American family in Mississippi who are on a journey to go visit a family member. But there is a ghost in the story, so we get to see the ghost's perspective as the story is being told along with other characters in the story. And like I was saying earlier, the mom made me so upset because she just made some choices where I was just like, girl, this is not it. This ain't it. Well, why are we doing this? This is not the choice. This is not the way to go. And then the ghost, I wanted to give him a hug. He was just so sweet. And he was just so sad, and I wanted to give him a hug. And because this book was so good, I already purchased all the other ones that she's written. She's actually written a follow-up to James Baldwin's book. What is this book called? James Baldwin wrote a book, and The Fire Next Time. So he wrote the book called The Fire Next Time, and then she came in and she wrote the book The Fire This Time. I'm going to read that book pretty soon. It's on my list of books to read. But this book is so good. It is full of heart. I'll say that. It's full of heart. It makes you angry at some of the characters and happy with some of the characters, and you'll question their choices, which makes you question some of your choices. And this is just a really good book to read if you like multiple perspectives, if you like ghosts, but like, Casper the Friendly Ghost, not like those ones that really do some kind of harm to you. So this ghost wasn't that bad. I like this ghost a lot. So Sing Unburied Sing by Jasmine Ward. Next book. All right. Oh, this was another good book. I keep doing that. I don't know why I keep doing that. This is the book. So Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. I think that's how you say her name. So this book, again, I like books with alternate perspectives where you get to see what this person thinks and what that person thinks. But this one is basically a story about two sisters who, based on the options that were given to one sister versus the other, it shows how their lives become significantly different based on the choices that their parents or their mom in this story made. We get to see through time, so not just one generation, but we get to see all the way back to pre the slave trade, how things started there and how it evolved to today's society. So we get to see multiple generations, we get to see multiple life choices and how we get to where we are today. This is such a good book about sisterhood. This is such a good book about parenting and like the tough choices that parents have to make. This is a book about just tough choices in general and how one small choice could lead to such a big difference in your life or your children's life. And I would definitely recommend it. Again, this is one of those books where I had to read and then take a break, because for me, there were some sections there that was just, it was just too heavy and I couldn't handle it. Funny enough, that reminds me of the book Heavy. I just couldn't handle it. So I had to read, put it down for like a day, and then come back, because it is a page turner, because you do want to know what is happening next, what's going to happen to this character next, where is this gonna go, what choice are they gonna make. So Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi, and I have to read her other book, Transcendent. That's another book, and I hope it is as good as this. I think it will be, but I have that book that I have to read too. Next book. You know what, before I do boundaries, let me do this book first. So The Color of Law. So The Color of Law is written by Richard Rothstein, and he is a political scientist, I think. He's a scientist of some sort. But he's won multiple awards. And so this book talks about how the government participated in the discrimination that happened back in the day. It's so rich with history. And for me, like, I live next door to Miami. So as I'm driving through the city, I could see some of the things that he talks about in this book. He talks about how highways were put in poor communities, black communities, really. How, you know, HOAs first came about and why we had HOAs in the first place. They talked about how the government scammed a lot of African American people out of the benefits that they were supposed to get after leaving the military. This book talks about how we ended up with so many of the ghettos with black people. But like, fun fact, a lot of these things started with white people, and as they saw the transition, they kind of switched things around. So that's how white people became the people in the suburbs. But even if we look at it today, we see that now a lot of the more wealthier people in society are trying to move into the cities and then gentrify the area. So this is a really good book to explain how things came to be, how some of the systems in society got set up, and how the things that you see and you have a question like, why are there so many houses are so close to I-95? Especially when you drive through Miami and you think, why does the highway go through this community in particular? This book explains all of that, and just how there's so much that goes into what we take for granted today, what we dismiss as just poor choices by African Americans or black people in general. Some of it, a lot of it, was done by the government, and this book goes into details about that. Now, my favorite book, one of my favorite books, is this book, Boundaries, by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. Now, I've read quite a few of Dr. Henry Cloud's books. This is just my favorite of all of them, but his books are really good, so I like a lot of his books. But this one was a book that helped me to see that I didn't have any boundaries. And then it helped me to realize that boundaries are not a bad thing. Now, this book is written from a biblical perspective, so we get to see how God, Jesus, the Holy Trinity, establishes boundaries for us and basically lets you know that it's okay. You know, when I was growing up, I was always taught that you should turn the other cheek. And while I think that is still a good teaching, I think this book kind of balances out the turning the other cheek and lets you know that yes, you could turn the other cheek, but you need to also put up some boundaries, because Jesus had boundaries, and boundaries are actually healthy for us, the individual. So this book goes into talking about the sections of the Bible where Jesus and God, the whole thing, established boundaries, and not out of malice or hate, but out of love for you and love for themselves. You know, how love for myself. I put up this boundary because I love you, because I love me. And so boundaries are not a bad thing. Having healthy boundaries is a good thing. Having healthy boundaries leads to healthy relationships. And this is one of those books where I'm for sure keeping it for my children, because I want my children to read this book. I think this is a really good book. I think for anybody who is in a situation where they struggle with making boundaries, I think this is helpful, because it'll help you to see that boundaries are not a bad thing. And I think sometimes we might need permission to create boundaries in our lives, and I think this book will help quite a bit. So those are some of the books that I've already read that I really enjoyed, some of my favorite books that I reference all the time. If you know me in person, you've heard me talk about those books at least once. Right now, I'm reading a book that I've been meaning to read for, 3 years? Since this book came out, I think 3 years. So it's this book, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And again, this is one of those time-traveling, multiple perspectives book where you get to see what we're doing today. This character has been alive for 300 years. And she made a deal with the wrong person. And so we get to see what she is doing with her life now, how she gets to this point. And so far, I like the book. It's enjoyable. I think that there are some things where I would have just, if I were writing the book, and I'm not a writer, but if I were writing the book as a reader, I feel like I didn't need to know that. That doesn't really add anything to the story. It's kind of repetitive, and there's quite a bit of stuff that's in it where it's just there to make the book longer, I feel like. But I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm excited to get to the end. Hopefully that will be soon, because I kind of want to get to the mystery of all of this. But it's a good book. She's invisible, but not really. So it's a good read, and I would recommend it to anybody who is looking to find out about somebody who's been alive for 300 years and to learn about what it was like 300 years ago for her and what it is like for her, set in 2014 is where I think it goes up to. So yeah, this is a good book. I'm enjoying it so far. I don't know if my ideas are going to change about the book in a few days when I'm done reading it, but for now, it's okay. I'm enjoying it. I don't know if I would recommend it. I would recommend it so far. Hopefully I don't regret that as I'm done reading it. Anyways, thank you for watching. And like I said, if you read any of these books, please comment down below and let me know what you think. And I would love to talk to you about any of these books or other books that you are currently reading or that you would recommend. So, bye-bye.